Hey, everybody, we're joined by Matt Fornito, the Chief Data Officer at Summit Data, right? And I'm sorry, did I get that right, Matt?
Well, Summit Analytics was my data science consulting firm. Actually, I have two new firms, Goliath Data, which is data strategy consulting, and then Tech Inc., which is marketing and sales enablement for tech companies.
I love it. All right, Matt. Hey, thank you for joining us. Over to you whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Oh, God, which one is it? Sorry.
We've got a do or die data strategy. I love it.
Okay, perfect, Ned. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I want to start off with a story. It's 1974. Fred Smith is sitting at a blackjack table in Vegas, sweating profusely. And he's petrified. He's terrified. He's looking at the dealer's cards, sitting at 17. He has an 8. He hits 12. Hits again, 21. The thing about Fred is that he's not just your everyday Joe going to Vegas to play with a little bit of money. He's the CEO of FedEx. And what he just did is, we'll say, unprecedented. Because 3 years ago, he had used $4 million from his inheritance and raised another $91 million in venture capitalist funding to start FedEx. 3 years later, sitting at this blackjack table, terrified, he has $5,000 left in the business account. And with that win, he now has a whopping $32,000. With that money, he was able to pull FedEx out of bankruptcy, was given a few days where he was able to refuel his trucks and planes and raise $11 million in funding. And FedEx today is now worth $41 billion. The reason I tell you this story is because when we start looking at data strategy, when we start looking at AI strategy, we're not in the same framework, we're not in the same field, we're not in the same world we've been in the past 10, 20, 30 years. We are progressing at unprecedented rates. We're transforming industries. And because of this, we're in a space where we have to start taking more risk. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that we have to go to Vegas and you need to spend all of your money, all of your company's money, to decide if you guys are going to be profitable this year or not. But what I am saying is that we need to start taking calculated risk. You need to look in the mirror. You need to address your organization and say, do we have a data strategy? Do we have an AI strategy? Are we monetizing data? Are we doing everything we can to stay relevant, to stay competitive, to understand our customers, to accelerate ROI? Now, Deloitte's most recent survey probably says it best. 94% of business leaders surveyed agree that AI is critical to success over the next 5 years. The vision for AI, the reality of it is a future-proofing mechanism. Data and AI in and of themselves are whatever, right? They exist, but not in a pocket and not in a silo. If they do within your organization, that's a problem. Because data and AI need to be enablement tools to drive better, smarter, and faster decision making. And when you start looking to use AI within your organizations, when you start looking to leverage your data in meaningful ways, that leads to exponential increases of monetization. Whether that's the industry standard of 5% ROI, or the 10, 20, 50, 100, 300x multipliers that some organizations are getting by doing this right. So, what is the opportunity for you as technologists, as leaders in this space? Because we've sat in that technologist type role or controlling agent for the past 1, 2, 3 decades. But now we have a much, much greater opportunity, right? It's not just about owning the technology, it's not just about monitoring and managing the data. You now have an opportunity to be the revenue generator leader for your organization because data is going to be the end all be all decision maker and enabling agent for monetization. That also means that you have the opportunity, for good or for bad, to be a Greek god. I can't see cameras, so it's a little difficult to ask. But if you know who Atlas was, as a Greek god, having to hold the entire weight of the world on his shoulders, well, now you have that opportunity to do that within your organization. Because what we are going to see in the next 5 to 10 years is unprecedented opportunities, unprecedented growth, and unprecedented transformation. But that also leads to who are you as a person? What I mean by that is what is your risk tolerance? Are you someone who likes taking risks? You like going skydiving? Or are you someone who's afraid of risk and looks to maintain the status quo? Now, when we look at this from a data and AI perspective, those who are risk tolerant or risk prone are going to be more successful over the next decade. And the reason why is because technology is rapidly changing. Leveraging of data is rapidly advancing. And AI is getting embedded everywhere. And so those who adapt and adopt that change are going to be in a much better place than those who try to lock down and control data. Now, mind you, locking down and controlling data is a necessity, right? We don't want unrestricted access to this. But we want to make sure that organizations become successful. And the reality is the world's becoming data-driven, whether you like it or not. It also is that the world's becoming data-driven, whether you're ready or not. So your goal, your vision should be, how do you prepare yourself as a leader to drive innovation and transformation in the data and AI space? And how do you prepare your organization to accelerate the journey and adopt new technologies that enable that success? So let's talk about pain. We all have faced it in our organizations, right? When we kind of look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs for data, the protection aspect is critical, right? Obviously, we need the infrastructure, we need the pipelines. But when we think about data ownership, it's the governance, compliance, security, user access controls, data protection. All these things are that risk averse side, right? But we have to open up the propensity for growth and scale. What can we do with data? What are the pain points in regards to the technologies or gaps in technology that we have today? Do we have efficient and optimal pipelines for that data ingestion and leveraging? Are people adopting and trusting the data that's being ingested? Or accelerating that? How are your data scientists and ML engineers? Hopefully you have some. What technologies are they leveraging? Are the pipelines able to perform machine learning? Are they able to perform deep learning? Is AI being adopted across the organization or only happening in small pockets or only with the data science team? And moreover, are you automating where you can? Are you doing predictive and prescriptive analytics? Are you monetizing? All these are pain points in our data journey. Now, I developed this data maturity scale, and simplistically putting, look at 4 different categories. the analytics team composition, who's the AI champion, what data processes are in place, and what type of revenue are you seeing today. So if we look at a level 1 infancy based organization, might have data scientists, might not. But they're exploring the data. There's no semblance of an AI champion, nothing being evangelized or articulated out. All the processes are spaghetti against the wall approach, right? You just hope something sticks. And it's more than likely those data folks are costing you money. When you get to level 2, okay, we're doing some sort of production, right? Hopefully models are being put into production. The manager, director of the data science team, they're trying to evangelize that out. They might be a poor communicator, so it's not going very far. They read a book on sprints, so they're trying to implement that, have no idea what they're doing. And they're kind of that status quo of most models aren't being monetized today. Level 3 organizations, level 4, right? You're starting to monetize that data. You're seeing growth. You have data-driven decision making from that analytics team across the organization. You as a CIO, as a CTO, as a CDO, are an AI champion and evangelizing this out to the organization and showcasing the value of data and AI. And hopefully getting to a point where multiple people are so excited about it that all of you are driving this home. The processes become much more systematic, right, and defined. Instead of 80% of models never make it into production, you're now one of the best companies where only 10 to 20% don't make it into production. It becomes the lifeblood of the organization. And the revenue is rapidly growing, rapidly accelerating. And this is leading you to a point where you can continue to grow the team. You can buy new infrastructure. You can buy new technologies because you're justifying the opportunities that data and AI can provide. Now, looking at this slide, think through where you are as an organization today and think, where do you want to be 18, 24, 36 months from now? And I'll work on showing you how to get there. So hopefully I'm not talking to a bunch of young kids who don't remember As Seen on TV or Ronco. But AI adoption is not set it and forget it. The adoption in this space is a journey. And not even a 1, 2, not even a 5-year journey, because technology is rapidly changing so fast that it's going to be a continuous learning life cycle for the rest of our lives. It's like having a kid, or if you don't like kids, it's like having a dog, right? It's living and breathing, and you have to maintain it and you have to help it grow. And that happens through the infrastructure, through the data, the applications, monitoring and managing your risk, hiring the right talent, being able to monetize that data and AI, and increasing adoption, creating a center of excellence, evangelizing that out to the organization. Now, I developed a 7-step process methodology because I've seen this so many times with Fortune 500 organizations that I've worked with. And a lot work in pockets and silos and wonder why they don't achieve success. And I certainly don't have time to go through all of this in depth today. These tend to be 1, 2, 5, or 2 day or 2-week workshops. But in a brief aspect of this, on that data journey, 7 steps, right? The first is breaking down communication barriers. The second is ensuring you have a data strategy and an AI strategy. Everyone may have a data strategy. We can put that in quotes. But is it good enough? Is it advancing the organization to where you guys want it to go? The third is impact. Are your data scientists actually executing and aligning with your executive vision? Because if they're not, they're just doing whatever the heck they want to do, and it's not necessarily providing value. It might generate ROI, but it doesn't drive your company to where you want it to go. The fourth is where you as leaders really, really come in as well, right? internally into the analytics and IT side, because we have to look at the opportunity cost and we have to look at the gaps. Have you done a gap? Have you done a SWOT analysis to understand that you have the right infrastructure, that you have the right applications, the right processes, the right people? Or are there gaps that need to be fulfilled to ensure that success? Fifth step, create a center of excellence. So now people across the organization aren't replicating the wheel. They're able to leverage clean data, already created models, things that rapidly accelerate your AI journey. Because there's a 1.5 million data scientist shortage and it's likely not going to stop the next 2 decades, we have to develop data-driven mindsets across organizations today. It's change management, it's progressive thinking. You have to take a role in educating people and having them be data-driven, be hypothesis-driven to change and impact organization. And lastly, when you do that, you ultimately create a culture of continuous improvement. And if you are sitting in a place where your organization is constantly questioning, are we doing this right? Are we doing it well enough? What can we improve? Then you become fail-proof because you never accept the status quo and you always look, how can we 10x this? How can we do this better? And then what does that mean for you? Well, first is that you're integral to the organization, right? When I say data strategy, it's not just controlling data. It's AI strategy. It's monetization of that data. It's actionable decision making from that data. And when you do that, you become integral to the organization. Your job's future proof because you made the company future proof. A number of different researchers have shown that CIOs and CTOs are much more likely to become CEOs today as opposed to CFOs 2 decades ago. And the reason why is because as technologists, as people who understand data, we are changing the landscape. And we're changing it in a way that leads to mass productivity. By leveraging data, by leveraging AI, that monetization allows huge, huge impacts and growth for the organization. 2 things of note also from Deloitte's 2022 State of AI. It's not just about the technology, right? It's not just about the data. 55% of organizations with high AI maturity are investing in change management because you have to transform the culture and the people to be data-driven. And those that have that high maturity, 40 to 50% of companies across all verticals are using AI decision-making at the executive level. Are you guys using that today? Now, these are only a handful of partners and customers I've worked with over the past few years. And I have this on here because all of these organizations vary in regards to being a level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 organization. And even when you look at a company like Meta, who tends to be hyper mature in the space, or at least the perceptions are, right? Their machine learning, their data science teams, yes, they're very mature. But if you went into operations or finance or HR, they're nearly devoid of data scientists. Organizations need to adopt this across the board. In Meta's case, they have done the cost analysis, and because 92% of the revenue still comes from ad generation, they almost focus explicitly out there, unless they're wasting money on the metaverse. Personal opinion. But when you look at all of these different organizations, from Kaiser to small organizations like Subtle Medical, to Dish and Charter, every vertical is leveraging AI. Everyone is generating value with AI. And whether that's on the storage side, such as Dell and HPE, or the compute side of NVIDIA, or the auto ML of Data Robot. And mind you, there's now hundreds of both open source and closed source solutions of ISVs and other solution providers in this space that are helping organizations generate value today. The way you generate value is not explicitly with a tool or technology. The way you generate value is by linking the data to business questions and business impact. Do you know what a 5% reduction in customer churn looks like? Do you know what it looks like if you increase the customer lifetime value by 10%? You know the features that are driving those facets? And is there an actionable plan in place to change behavior to improve those features? Tools and technologies, data and AI, all enablement tools for decision making. So when we look at this, right? Big checklist, even bigger in reality, right? But how do you succeed? A data strategy, and not just security and governance and compliance, a true data strategy. An AI strategy that works across lines of business to understand opportunities for biggest impact and success and ROI. Ensuring you have the right talent. Data scientists can range from 80,000 to over $1 million. Do you hire a junior data scientist who doesn't know what they're doing to build all of the models fresh out of undergrad? Do you hire someone with a decade of experience that can drive innovation? What do you need in regards to talent? Do you have engineers that can put those models into production? Especially when you look at real-time analytics or edge devices. Are you ensuring that the technology stack you have is enabling analytical success? Have you looked into creating, or have you already created, an AI center of excellence? A clean data repository, a model repository, where anyone can go and access this for greater insights or for leveraging so they're not reinventing the wheel. Are you personally evangelizing the wins of your analytics folks and the revenue generation? What problems they're solving for the organization today? And are you personally taking it on yourself to develop a data-driven culture? In regards to who I am, after my PhD program was a data scientist. I've done data architecture, I've done data engineering. I had been hands-on for quite a few years. I understood the pain points. I saw the problems within the organization of implementation as well as adoption. I had my own data science consulting firm. I was one of 7 service delivery partners for NVIDIA worldwide because I saw the opportunity that data science presents when there's a shortage of good qualified talent. In the past 7 years, I had been on the VAR solution integrator side because building a model wasn't enough to generate success. It was a comprehensive ecosystem of the hardware, of the software, whatever services were needed to enable success of Fortune 500 organizations. And most recently, I built these 2 new companies, as mentioned at the beginning. One is data strategy from organizational change management perspective, because I see how important adoption is, how important changing the culture is, how important actually investigating what the data can tell us and educating on what AI can solve. And then the other is my marketing and sales enablement firm, because as much as I've worked with over 400 different ISVs, all those sales reps always talk about features of their product. But just like I'm talking about data and AI and problem solving, all of those tech companies need to talk about problem solving for their customers. And so in summation, what I want to close out with is that if you are not a level 4 organization today, what are the gaps and barriers? What is your vision to get there? and how are you going to do it? Thank you all very much for your time. And if anyone likes to connect with me on LinkedIn or message me, I'll put that in chat.
Matt, Matt, thank you very much. Awesome as always. And I loved, and I hate to pull on this because there was so much I love for your presentation, but picking on metaverse is exactly what we should all be doing every day. Well, we're scheduled to have a break until 1:15 PST, where we'll join, if you choose, the Women in Emerging Technology panel. Matt, thank you again. Pleasure to see you, sir. Love the presentation.
Thanks, man.
You have a great day.
You too, bud.